Right, let me just check the audio. Just check that the audio works. Alright, the audio's all good. So, welcome everybody to round 2 of the Oceania Racing League. Today we're in Belgium for short qualifying and a 22 lap race around Spa-Francorchamps, which is the longest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar, and qualifying's just started now. So I'm going to look to see who's going to be the first one out on track. I think everyone's just still loading their setups now, so it might be a second or two. And looks like plug mode is going to be the first one out on track for the Williams. They go into the barrier, and they've got some damage on that left end plate. Just didn't turn on that first bit, so they'll probably have to box. So we see a couple of people now out on track. F1 Twitch, Plug Mode, Mr. Gamer, as well as J-Man, and Isign Rhino, and Duels Daniel. So all of these drivers are pretty much coming out of the pits now. And yeah, Plug Mode's invalidated the lap time. Alright, I'm just gonna wait to see if Plug Mode is gonna box for that new front wing, because on the exit of the pits just had a bit of a hit with the barrier. The left end plate's gone, as you can see on the front of the car there. So now all of the drivers are out on track. Plug Mode's slowing down now. Don't know why they did that. Maybe trying to let a driver through. Will they come into the pits? So it looks like Duels Daniels, their teammates behind them. Yeah, they do come into the pits. And I think furthest ahead now is going to be Mr. Gamer in an Alpine car now. Into the source, but it doesn't quite get the apex there. So, but still decent corner, decent exit of the corner. Through Rouge and Radion now. Oh, really tricky flat round there. Now Camel Corner onto the Camel straight. You want DRS open all the way down this really big long back straight here into the braking zone. You want to brake around 50 meters there. And you go around a couple of quick corners. You want to be focused for those couple of corners. And down on the exit of turn 10, down to the long run to pull on. As fast as you want to stay on the throttle pedal the whole way around there. And then you go into the right left of Fogne, or whatever it's called. And after that you come around to turn 14, 15. Double right hander. And from there you've only got 5 corners to go or so. Some of them, these aren't really corners, they're flat. Just goes around Blanchimont. Now into the bus stop chicane. It's just got 2 corners to go. Out of the corner to go. And what's it going to be? It's a 146.4. So I'm going to look behind to see who is behind. It's F1 Twitch. F1 Twitch doesn't go faster, but J-Man does, and I think just so ISO skits there, hit the barrier on the exit of turn 10, and that's no front wing for them anymore. So they're gonna have to abort their flying lap and box. So you see a zippy bumper getting out of the way for them. And I think some people might be coming across the line now. Here goes Bonker Boy for their first lap. It's a 1:45.8 for them, so they go P2 behind the person on provisional pole, Ice Iron Rhino in the Haas car. I think reserving this race, but they've had some very strong performances in Div 2. They seem to have a lot of pace. And going wide, there's F1 Twitch, who's actually just spun. Luckily, they keep the car out of the barriers there. They're getting on the power a bit too early out of Puon. You do have to downshift one. And we see more drivers saying their lap times now. Who is next to cross the line? Looks like it might be plug mode. No, they're gonna go maybe for the set. As we see, Zippy Bumper is just spun. I think that might have been off the top of Eau Rouge. Just getting out the way for the drivers. Good work there. Maybe on the left-hander, not enough downforce and the car's spun round. Actually pretty lucky to keep it out of the barriers, I would think. Because once the car spins at Eau Rouge, it's quite hard to keep it out of the barriers. Because just of the sheer speed you've got going around there. I think next to cross the line will be Bonker Boy. He's going for their second lap time. Oh no, they're boxing. So I think all the drivers are now boxing, apart from Dools Daniel, who's just invalidated their lap time on the final corner. I think it would have been good enough for P2, but they just run a bit wide on that last corner. That's very unfortunate. And Dools Daniel's had some very, very strong performances in the practice race and in Div 2. They're reserving now for the Williams. So they won the practice race and they won the Div 2 race from 13th on the grid, so that was an outstanding performance from them. And they'll probably be hoping to replicate the performance today. So they just cut that corner chicane. Because they're probably going, I think they might be going on an in-lap. It looks like Zipping Bumper might be coming across the line now. No, it's just going for another lap, I think. They've got to navigate a lot of traffic, as I think that was Mr. Gamer in front of them, who moved out quite suddenly in front of them. They had to take a bit of avoiding action. I wonder what that's done to their lap time. As we see the first sector, they're going to overtake Mr. Gamer, gets out of the way. So they're on out lap. Through the middle section now, out of turn 10, as we get a really good corner there. And coming down to the run to Puon now. It's a super long corner, you want to hold the car in there. And use all of the track there on the exit. And from here you've navigated probably the most tricky parts of the lap. You've just got Blanchiment and the bus stop chicane to go, really, as it's full throttle from here to the finish line. I mean to the bus stop chicane. So into the bus stop chicane they go, braking about 100 meters, I think. They get Bit of power on the exit. Coming round. Keeps it in the track. What's it going to be for them? It's going to be a 150, and I think maybe at the start there, Mr. Game might have gotten in the way of Zippy, as they're going to be starting their second lap now, I think. So you can just look at the gaps now. So it looks like it might be a battle for the lead between, or for pole position between Ice Iron Rhino and Lindsay Games, as those two have pulled over a second clear of the rest of the field. But here goes Mr. Gamer. Through Puon they go now. Gonna ride on board for the rest of this lap. You can see the car is bouncing up and down a tiny bit. And they go a tad wide through that first corner of the chicane. Now they've got to navigate that double right hander and stab lot. Come on the exit now. Looks like a couple of cars up ahead. Let's head to purple sector 2. So they're gonna. This is very good for them, as they're gonna get a tow. It's gonna get a tow down the whole of these high speed corners from their teammate and Aston. And here they go out of the corner, get a bit wobbly, I think, and they've corrected it. What's it gonna be? It's gonna be good enough for P4. Good work from them there. And look to see who else is on an outlap. And it looks like Bonker Boy's on a flying lap now. Just coming out of the last chicane, the bus stop chicane, cross the line. They're gonna stay P3, improve on the time by a bit, but they'll have to improve by about a second to even really challenge Ice Iron Rhino. Skids might have invalidated their lap time. Yeah, I think they have. Going a bit slow around there. I think Slickers might have just set a lap time, so they're in P9. F1 Twitch, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 people out on track doing a flying lap. I think F1 Twitch is one of them. That's all the drivers except for Alpha Foxtrot have set a lap time. So there's 5 minutes to go in the session. I think everyone will be coming out for their final lap soon. As I don't know if F1 Twitch will have time to go back into the pits for another set of tyres. Unless they do it right now. So that'll be very interesting to see. And they're going to stay out. How good would this lap be? Ends up being only a 48.6. So I wonder if they're going to go for a cool down lap maybe, and then another flying lap. Because they won't. I don't think they'll have enough time to do a lap, go into the pits, to do an in lap, change tyres and do an out lap and flying lap. But we'll see. They could. Never know. So I'm going to join with Alpha Foxtrot, who's setting their first lap time at the moment. The only driver that hasn't set a lap time so far. Purple sector 2 for them. Very fast here. Just got 1 chicane to go now. it's bus stop chicane as Jules Daniel crashes there in the middle sector. Gonna ride. I think we'll stick with no, we're gonna look to see if Skits is going past them now. Maybe just on the exit there. I'm gonna look for Slicker's POV. Maybe snap of oversteer or something. But that's bad crash there, and I think the marshals have cleared that up, so it'll be green flags now. But just before they finished that lap, they said the second fastest lap time, which was just 300ths of Lindsay's time. So Jules Daniel, as always this season, looks to be right on the money. So, I wonder what that could mean for the race. As Foxtrot has gone P6. We're looking at number 4. There's a yellow flag up ahead. I think, yeah, it's someone getting out the way. In quite a dangerous location actually. In F1, they might be out actually. Yeah, F1 Twitch in the Alpine. They've just stopped on track. I wonder what's happened there. It's quite a dangerous location actually. So the drivers coming through there at very high speed, so they'll only go 10th quickest. And now we've got under 2 minutes to go, so all the drivers should be coming out or on their out lap for the final flying laps of the qualifying session. Simon Ryan's just got a couple more corners to go now. Going past Alfa Romeo of Lindsay, just slowing down to let the Haas car through. Coming around, they just got Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane to go. They go round Blanchimont, foot to the floor, through the bus stop chicane they go. What can they do? And it won't be the best lap time actually. Or maybe that was an out lap. Will they go for another one? I think we've got under a minute to go now, so Lindsay's actually aborted the lap maybe. Bonker Boy just retires from the section there, session around Rivage. Maybe going lock up or something like that. I'm gonna find plug mode, I think it is. It's just gone straight on, it's a huge crash. What's plug mode done there? They haven't broken at all. They are out of the session. Huge crash there. I think most of the drivers are boxing now to come into the pit. And that might be qualifying over, so a bunch of people are retiring there at the end. It's quite weird. And I think everybody except Mr. Gamer has finished their laps. So it's just the Alpine driver to go through now. All eyes will be on him. So coming down the long run down the Camel Straight into Lecombe. Right, left, decent exit. Then to the right hander where a couple of people this session have gone off. It's lucky not to get their lap time disqualified. What's that? That was a bit wide down there. Into Puan they go. Round the long corner. Uses a lot of the track there on the exits. Well done, it's going, I think, to slow down a lot through that turn 12 and 13 chicane. Around the double right-hander now. And They've just got the long run down to that bus stop chicane, and then they can see the finish line. Here they go. Using all the ERS. They're out of ERS now. So they might have had to go for a couple of laps. Just one more corner to go now until they can see the finish line. What lap time is it going to be? Oh, they're going to have to abort it. Maybe got a bit of a snap of oversteer on the exit. But that's going to mean it's only P6 for Mr. Gamer. And the person on pole position is going to be Lindsay Games. So it's very impressive qualifying from all those top 3 drivers. They looked quite strong. So yeah, I wonder what will happen in this race. I'll just be back in one moment for the race. So make sure to stay here because the race is coming up next. Alright, here we go. It's going to be no formation lap for this race because there's a couple of glitches in the game with it, actually. So, might be a bit of a chaotic start, down to the run to turn 1 to turn to La Source. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. And XP Riley jump starts it. It's a very long hold on the right on the lights, and it's lights out and away we go. Looks like a good start from Lindsay Games. Dawes Daniels already alongside them. Dawes Daniels dropping down a couple of places as they go straight on, and a lot of people going wide there. But I think everyone's still in it, so mostly clean. So Lindsay Games is now bit ahead of Ice Iron Rhino, who's gaining all the way down this long Camel straight. Plugmo gets a 3-second time penalty, and Ice Iron Rhino's ahead of them now. Will Lindsay try and fight it? No, they're too far back, and that's a crash. That's a big crash, and Mr. Game is out of the race. Crashed with Zippy Bumper, and it's a safety car. Mr. Game is in a very dangerous spot there. So I think maybe Zippy was trying to go round the outside on Mr. Gamer, who might have just squeezed him a bit too much, and resulting in the Alpine going into the wall. Actually, it's only a virtual safety car at the moment, so I wonder what will happen. It might be a full safety car, I think, though. We'll see very shortly. No, it's still only a VSC, surprisingly. I would have thought it was full safety car. There's collision in that P5-6 between... There's a couple of collisions, actually. Blanca Boy and Dawes Daniel and XP Riley get more penalties. XP Riley just had a terrible start to this race because they jumped the start, so they'll have a drive-through penalty on top of that. And I'm just going to look to see what tyres people are on. There's Ice Iron Rhino comes into the pits, and doesn't look like they have damage, actually, so I wonder what they're going in for. Maybe there's some aero damage that we can't see. But a couple of drivers now are coming to the pits, and XP Riley gets disqualified, maybe seeing no point to go on in this race, and just parking the car. So Ice Iron Rhino is going to come out behind all of them, and I think we're racing again. There's a couple of people are jumping other cars in the pits. I'm going to see the pit stop strategy. Looks like it's going to be... Maybe these guys are going for 2 stops. Yeah, it looks like Bonker Boy's going for 2 stops. So it's a mix of strategies. I wonder why everyone pitted there. It'll be interesting to see how these develop. But right now in the lead we've got Lindsay Games. And I think there might be some damage for ISO Skits. As you can see on the car, that right end plate of the front wing has come off, maybe in a collision with ISO and Rhino. You see the pit stop strategy again. So I think most of these people who haven't pitted will be going for maybe a 1 stop, and that's a spin. ISO and Rhino's round, and I think that might have been caused by Jules Daniel or someone who had spun round. I think Jules Daniel had spun round and caused ISO and Rhino to have to take some avoiding action maybe. So we're going to join in on Jules Daniel. So there might be a penalty coming their way if they made ISO and Rhino spin. So I wonder what happened there. So they're going to almost clip the rear tyre of Slickers up front. He's going to brake later. DRS is now enabled on this lap. Jules Daniel is going to follow the Mercedes on the run to Eau Rouge. They go through the DRS detection point now. I think Jules Daniel will have DRS, and plug mode might have spun at the back. No, that is F1 Twitch, who's out of the race. And it looks like Jules Daniels just got past Slickers, just overtaking them with DRS before that turn. And it's a yellow flag in Sector 3 because F1 Twitch and that Alpine has had an off somewhere. So I wonder if it'll be a safety car. Looks like the track's actually clear, so very good work from the marshals there. Wonder what happened there, maybe a bit of snap of oversteer or something at Blanchimont. Jules Daniel's gotten past Mercedes behind them. They're up into P4. They dropped a couple of places on the start. Oh, and it's a spin behind ISO and Rhino. They've spun at for the second time at turn 12 or turn 13 in 2 laps. So they've tumbled down a couple of places. And they've lost many places from spinning a couple of times. I don't think one of them was their fault. So they hit a sign there. Sign might be gone now, as it looks like Skits in front might be boxing. I think they had some wing damage. Yeah, they did. So they're going to come in for a stop. What tyres will go on the Red Bull? They're serving a penalty, I think, that they might have had under the safety car, and that's why they had the wing damage. So they're going to go for a 2 stop. They're going to go onto the soft tyres. And they come out of the pits now. They're going to rejoin the track in last. It's not best for them. Jules Daniels catching J-Man now. Quite a bit. Lose quite a bit of time on that corner there. But everywhere else they've been gaining is the yellow flag, and ISO and Rhino spun for a 3rd consecutive lap. They luckily haven't lost any places, but they have lost all their progress to Slickers in front, who they were catching up on. So they'll have to they're gonna have to work hard again to catch up to them. Jules Daniels gained about 5/10 since we last watched them. And that's ISO and Rhino's round again. And this time will they be overtaken, I wonder. So we're going to look to see Jules Daniel up on the back of J-Man. And I don't think Iceland Rhino's going to be overtaken. They've just lost even more time. And that's the spin, it's Alpha Foxtrot round. They might be beached. Iceland Rhino, or Alpha Foxtrot's beached. Those rear tyres are spinning, but they're not going anywhere. What's happening down there? And they've been disqualified. That's very, very unfortunate. I think they spun and something happened where they were beached on the exit there, and they're out of the session. So definitely need a replay for that one. So see that later. That's unfortunate, but we're gonna look to this battle for P3. It's between J-Man in 3rd place and Dulce Daniel, who's currently in 4th place. And they're actually catching up to Zippy Bumper, who's in 2nd place. So it might turn into a battle for 2nd. But while these three are catching and trying to overtake each other, it's going to help Lindsay a lot up front in that Alfa Romeo, who's just stretching that lead. The lead's becoming larger and larger. And J-Man's catching up to Zippy Bumper. Just lost a bit of time there as well. So that none of these cars are within DRS range yet. But I think if one of them could get DRS, it should be an overtake. Can Dulce Daniel get within that 1 second before the DRS detection zone? They're on the back of J-Man. They can't quite get DRS for this lap. But I wonder if J-Man got it, because they were very close. And now Dulce Daniel is within that 1 second. But I think it might have been too late for them. Yeah, they don't get DRS. But still, even without DRS, they're catching up to J-Man in front, who goes wide. And that could allow a pass from Dulce Daniel, who's right on the rear of J-Man right now. Here goes the cars through the corner. J-Man gets a better exit there. Snap of oversteer from Dulce Daniel means they're going to go wide. They had to correct that. Through Pouon, all the cars go. Just gonna see Skits, who's gaining on plug mode. Doesn't quite have enough power to get it. There's a couple of battles going on, so I think the closest one at the moment is Skits, so we're going to look to Skits, see if they can overtake Dulce Daniel's teammate, Plug Mode. Look to see, Dulce Daniel might be gaining on J-Man, but not quite enough. And I might have to toggle between these two a couple of times as Plug Mode goes wide round Pouon. That's going to allow Skits to go round the outside maybe, and they get cut off by them. As does Dulce Daniel get past? They can't get past yet. This is quite tedious. I don't know where to look. I might miss one or both of these overtakes. As I think goes wide. Oh, that's a spin for Dulce Daniel off Eau Rouge, and it might be a VSC. Maybe tapped, went wide because of the wall or something. Maybe J-Man forced them wide. It's actually a full safety car. Wonder why that's a safety car and the actual crashes were not. So it should allow Dulce Daniel to box and catch up. And I wonder which drivers are going to box and which won't. So Plug Mode and Skits are boxing. And wonder who's going to get a better stop. As well as Bunker Boy, he's also boxed. But these two cars didn't manage to switch any places. This is quite a good battle. Jules Daniel hit the wall at the top of O'Reilly's quite hard there, and they've caused a safety car. They've got to navigate the rest of this track with no front wing as they get a snap of oversteer. That's quite unfortunate. So I think they might have had a collision maybe, or J-Man forced them to go wide, so they were right on the bumper with them. And the safety car is gonna spice some things up because it will pack the field now, and all the cars are coming to the pits now. But I wonder, will Slickers go in the pits? Because yeah, they are. Ice Iron Rhino behind also follows suit. Slickers gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not good for them. They're not releasing. Took a long time for them to release from the pits there. And it looks like the field's going to stay pretty much the same. But is Ice Iron Runner going to get an overtake in the pit lane? They just sneak ahead of Slickers. He got a slow release there. And all the field's going to bunch up under the safety car now. So I wonder how long the safety car will be out. Last time in Australia we saw many safety cars in both the races. But we haven't seen any so far. We saw a VSC. All the field's going to start bunching up now. Will the safety car wait for the drivers behind them? So Bonker Boy should catch up. I wonder if the safety car will wait for these two, Plug Mode and Skits, who were battling before. Alright. But I think anyone's a candidate to win this race so far, as we've got a poll in the chat, so make sure to vote for who you think will win. And these top four all have really good pace, so it'll be a very, very interesting battle on the safety car restart. And I wonder, can these drivers catch up before the safety car stops? And that's a retirement for J-Man. Something's happened to them under the safety car, and they're in the wall there. And that might cause the safety car to stay out a bit longer, allowing these two to catch up. Maybe a collision with Zippy Bumper, who was in front of them. And they still have caught up, and Pluggo is going very hot into the cars. Almost crashed, had to take some avoiding action. And I wonder what's happened to J-Man. I think maybe a collision with Zippy Bumper. Maybe someone slowed down in front. And that's a crash behind. Plug Modes gets put in the wall by Bonker Boy. And Bonker Boy gets a 5-second time penalty, which means Plug Mode's going to need to pit again. So I think the safety car will be in this lap, but Plug Mode's got no front wing, and they're going to need to catch up. As Slickers, what's happening to Slickers? There's chaos happening, and Bonker Boy's out. What is happening there? Bunch of front wings are gone. Ice Iron Rhino gets a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Plug Mode. Oh, someone goes straight on. That's Plug Mode going straight on, and they've maybe rage quit. They're gone. What is happening here? So we can let people review the decisions. in those channels. But the safety car might have to stay out for a bit longer, as under the safety car we've had 3 people retire. Or that's not very good from them. I think maybe a double collision or something. But yeah, that is not very good for the race. But Lindsay now has one less rival they have to worry about. This race is down to 6 drivers, started from 13. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Is the safety car gonna go in, or will it, yeah, safety car is in this lap, so we'll be racing this lap. And I wonder how good Lindsay is at their safety car restarts. So the whole field still has to stay behind them. They're now the pace setter. I think once we go around that final corner, they'll be able to go. They're just bunching the field up now. Here we go, down the bus stop chicane. And we're going to restart with only 6 drivers remaining. We've got 13 laps to go. Didn't look like the best restart from Lindsay. Can Zippy Bumper get the jump on them? No, they can't, but Slickers gets snap of oversteer there in the background. And they're dropping down places. Can Skits overtake them? Think they can. No, they stick behind. Many people battling. DRS won't be active just quite yet. I think it might be active next lap. But what's going to happen up front? Zippy Bumper's gaining on Lindsay. He's got a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Multiple warnings of that. And can Zippy make a move? They're going down the inside. ERS open. There's no DRS. They're going side by side. And Zippy Bumper gets ahead before the braking zone. And going round now is Jules Daniel, who's battling with Lindsay. And Lindsay's been forced wide, and they've lost out on 2 places. And they've been forced wide again, so they might miss out on more. And they've tumbled down to the back of the grid. They're having to fight with Skits now, and they've gained that place back. But can Skits fight back into Pullen? I don't think they can. But is that damage for Lindsay? Yeah, it might. There's a right front, right end plate missing. So, that's not very good for them. But can they recover the race? Skits is right behind them. And you'd think they'd have to stay out here. Because I don't know how much. I don't think an end plate is that much damage. Skits is right behind them now. They're gaining on Lindsay. And I think DRS will be activated this lap. Jules Daniel gets a 3-second time penalty. The only driver now not to get it is Lindsay, who's just boxed. And they're retiring from the session. I think they could have recovered that, and that's another safety car. And so that is just absolutely flipped this race on its head. Zippy Bumper is now in P1. Ice Iron Rhino in P2. Jules Daniel lost out a place on that restart. They're down to P3. Slickers and Skits gained a couple. And that was a horrible, it's worst possible restart for Lindsay, who's retired. And might just be, I think, this lap and next lap under the safety car. I think we'll be back to racing then. So it's a it's been a very interesting safety car or race. And all these cars gonna have to do another couple of laps under the safety car. This is the longest track on the F1 calendar, this, Spa-Francorchamps. So, these safety cars take a while to go round because of the fact that the circuit is 7 kilometers long. And we've just got, I think once the safety car comes in, we'll have maybe 10 laps to go. So it'll be 10 laps of action. Zippy bumper brake checks. Ice-on Rhino behind. Quick reactions from them. Not to get hit. We started with 13 drivers and we're down to 5. They're catching up to the safety car now. A lot of drivers are coming in quite hot to the safety car. But they'll slow down in time. I think it might just be 1 lap remaining. But Lindsay Games has had very, very, very unfortunate luck. They retired from the, well, they had a couple of spins and collisions in the practice race, which weren't their fault. And in the sprint race, or I think they retired Div 1, or which was abandoned. But in Div 2, which they were reserved for, someone collided with them in the sprint race, not their fault. And I think in the race, DRA Geordie brake checked them. So they have really just had some of the worst luck I've ever seen in league racing. So they'll hope to come back next weekend a lot stronger. Yeah, but right now Zippy Bumpers gained the lead in that Ferrari. Will the safety car come in this lap? I think we got 1 corner until we know. It should stay around this corner. I think it should come in this lap. Does the safety car come in this lap? It does. So we're going to be racing after this lap. The safety car goes ahead and all the drivers are going to have to maintain speed until the green flag. Until that safety car boxes. They're not quite going yet. We've just got to get to the bus stop chicane. Into the braking zone. There you go. Let's see. Is it going to be a good safety car restart for Zippy Bumper or Ice-on Rhino? So they're doing a bit of restart and they get a massive slap of oversteer. And will that cause them to lose out? Amazingly, they maintain P1 for the moment. But Ice-on Rhino also got a snap of oversteer. And those two have maintained P1 and 2 as Oceania Rhino gets 3, as we saw Jules Daniel just get tapped there by the Mercedes, I think. The Mercedes is really gaining on them. Throw Rouge and Radio on we go now. Up to the top. Slickers is right behind them and Jules Daniel is gaining on Zippy. What can they do down the Camel Straight? They have to stick behind. And Zippy goes a bit wide. And that's going to allow Jules Daniel to gain, but they can't quite gain enough. And Zippy maybe getting a snap of oversteer forced Jules Daniel to go wide. And everyone in from P2 to P5 is in a intense battle as Isoskits tries to move on Slickers into the chicane, and there's a collision between Zippy Bumper and Jules Daniel out of Pouon. And Jules Daniel might be beached. Jules Daniel's beached on the grass there, and they're gonna get disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location because the car The wheels aren't making contact with the ground. Yeah, they get disqualified. That's not good for them. And Skits is now catching up to Slickers. These two were in P8 and 9 before, and now they're in P2 and 3. And they're battling for P2. Zippy Bumper's quite far behind. I think Dulce Daniel maybe went for a move on the inside, and Zippy didn't quite give them enough room on the exit, or something like that. I really want to see a replay for that. We started with 13 drivers, and now we're down to 4. 2 of those drivers were beached on the curb, I think. So this is just super unfortunate. And we had a poll before of who would win this race. It was Lindsay, Bumper, J-Man, and Dulce Daniel as the candidates. And now the most likely candidate isn't even on there. It's looked to be Ice Iron Rhino in the Haas car up front, who's actually reserving from Div 2. So they've done an outstanding race. And Skits going through Poohan again. Can't make a move on Slickers. Slickers goes a bit wide into the chicane, but they maintain the lead, P2. And DRS will be active next lap, so if Skits can't get past before the bus stop chicane, they should have a decent chance of getting past them on the Camel Straight next lap. And that's a spin for Zippy Bumper, and it's a DNF on the exit, and it's another safety car. We've had 3 or 4 safety cars, and this is just incredible. 9 DNFs in 15 laps. Just 7 to go. I think on the exit of Stavlo, I think that's how you pronounce it. Zippy might have gotten a bit too much. Slickers needs to make sure they don't get brake checked by the safety car, or that they don't brake check ISO Skits, because if you capture a safety car, you're gone, I think. They almost get tapped by it. They're gonna have to do another 7 kilometers though around the circuit before they can join the queue. So we've had, I think, 3 safety cars in this race so far. Yeah, it's been quite exciting. There's been so many crashes and so many overtakes. But Slickers almost brake checked Skits. Maybe they did brake check Skits. Doesn't appear to have any front wing damage from that. I'm gonna look at the penalties. So Slickers has 11 seconds of penalties, which is more than double anyone else's. So that would mean that Skits at the back has the least penalties with 3. Ice Iron Rhino and P1 first place. The reserve driver has the second most with 5 seconds of penalties. So they'll have to really pull away from the other 2 drivers if they want to get a win here. And once this safety car goes in, we're going to have about 5 laps of racing, I think, here. So, yeah, this could be very exciting safety car restart. So I think this will be the best chance for anyone to get some overtakes for a while, before the end of the race. So I think Skits will be thinking that if they want to get a win, they'll have to get overtake on Slickers on the safety car restart, which will allow them to hopefully stick behind Ice Iron Rhino, and maybe with some DRS overtake them. As yeah, all the drivers have pretty much full ERS now. We just have a couple of corners to go now in the sector 2 until we get on to the final sector, and hopefully the final sector under the safety car for that matter. This race has been an awful number of incidents here. Safety car is in this lap, so Ice Iron Rhino wasn't in front for any of these safety cars, but they'll be restarting the field for this one. Yeah, all these cars are warming up their tyres now. We got to navigate the bus stop chicane, and then we'll be racing again. Who gets a better restart? Ice Iron Rhino goes a bit wide, and it's a big snap of oversteer from Slickers, which could allow Ice Iron Skits behind them to get through. They're going side by side into turn 1. Who's going to brake later? Skits has got inside, and they go a bit wide, which is going to allow Slickers to get a switchback, and out of the source, Slickers stays ahead, which is all the while they're battling, allowing Rhino to get ahead. Skits gets a time penalty as they're going round the outside down the Camel Straight. Can they get ahead before the braking zone? Who's gonna get it? Side by side, Slickers just stays on that inside line, and Skits gets a bit forward, or has a snap of oversteer maybe. They had to correct something there, and they went off the track, which is gonna allow the lead to Ice Iron Rhino to be quite a margin. But they are gaining back on Slickers. But the question is, how much can they gain? Can they overtake Slickers on track? And if they do, can they catch up to Ice Iron Rhino, who's currently got a 3-second margin almost to Slickers behind them? They're coming round this final run, round Blanchimont they go. And they've just got the bus stop chicane until they can finish lap 17 of this race. And now we've only got 4 more laps to go. So I don't know if Skits can gain about 4 seconds in 4 laps. It seems quite unlikely. But what does seem likely is them catching up to Slickers. As if the race ended now, Skits would actually get P2 because of penalties, as Slickers gets another penalty. So if Slickers does want to win it, they'll have to work super hard to open up a gap 2 Skits behind, which seems quite unlikely now, as Skits has gained about 8/10 in this lap. And they go wide, and Slickers is off the track, which is going to allow Skits to get through. They get front left end plate scorn for their front wing. So I don't think they shouldn't pit here. They go wide again. And there's just we're coming to the end of this lap now, so after this we're gonna have 3 laps to go, just 3, and then I wonder, what can skits do? They don't seem to be making up any places to Ice Iron Rhino in front, who is on 1 lap fresher tyres. Skits is the oldest tyres on this in this race by 1 lap. Shouldn't make too much of a difference, but you never know. As well as that, Skits also has a 1 second extra penalty than Rhino. So we got a start the 19th lap of the race. And they'll just have a couple more laps to go. And I wonder what's going to happen. Will there be any late drama upsets in this race? What is going to happen? And I think a couple of these incidents might turn into disputes. We saw a couple happen on the opening lap. It was very, very chaotic. And a couple of people got beached on the curb, which was very unfortunate. And there's a retirement for Slickers. They've gone straight over the curb, and it's a safety car, which is going to allow, or a VSC at least. I wonder if it's a safety car. It's a full safety car, so that's going to allow Skits to catch up to Rhino. And I think we're going to have 1 lap of racing here to decide the Belgium Grand Prix. This spices everything up. Skits is going to be right on the back of Ice Iron Rhino. But with 1 second extra penalties, I wonder how much of a difference it's going to make. What is Skits going to do? This is turning into an exhilarating finish for the Belgian Grand Prix. And this race did seem to be going to a bit of a boring conclusion. But in the Oceania Racing League, anything can happen. As we saw last time out, many crashes in Div 2 and Div 1, which really did spice things up. So we've got I think this will be 1 lap on the safety car. And I actually think that, no, there'll be 2 laps of racing, probably. So that could give Skits a chance to get Ice Iron Rhino, who's in P1 in 1st place. Skits is in 2nd place. But can they get any overtaking done? And if so, can they open up a 1 second gap? Both of these drivers looked to have quite a bit of pace in qualifying. But I think Ice Iron Rhino was higher than Skits in qualifying. But race pace is different to quali. And I wonder what is going to happen. Because the safety car will be in this lap. Yeah, safety car will be in this lap. And I think that means that we're going to go racing for 2 laps after this. We've had 11 DNFs. We started with 13 drivers, and we're now down to 2. 2 drivers remain in the race. So safety car should come in. It does come in this lap. So Ice Iron Rhino, got a couple of snaps of oversteer the last couple of safety car restarts. They're gonna have to restart for this lap, and they'll be praying to the F1 gods that they don't get a snap of oversteer. For this safety car restart, that could be catastrophic to their race. Skits is wanting to stay right behind them for the restart. Both the drivers warming up their tyres. What's who's going to do is they're right behind them. Alright, we've got 2 laps of racing, and Iron Rhino gets some stamp of oversteer, goes a bit wide, I think, but it's not going to allow Skits to get through quite yet. DRS won't be active yet, so Skits will have to do a lot of hard work to gain up to Iron Rhino in that Haas. As Rhino goes a bit wide, which allows Skits to gain 4 tenths on them, which is huge in this battle. Up Eau Rouge they go. They stay about even, but down the long run to turn 6, I think. Down the Camel Straight, Skits is gaining all the way down. Will Skits go for a move? They stay behind. That's a bit of wise decision, I think, but you never know. He could dive bomb. And the cars coming around the Rivage chicane on hairpin, no mistake. Into turn 10 they go. And the cars are coming around to turn 11, which is Puon. Which can gain you or lose you a lot of time, and it looks like Skits has gained a lot of time. It gained about a 10th on Iron Rhino, and loses about a 10th just after the corner. Who will get a better run? I think Skits should have a decent chance of actually overtaking Iron Rhinos. They're gonna get a massive tow down this straight thing here. Around Blanchimont they go. And they're coming into the bus stop chicane. And they can't get an overtake done. But they're going to have DRS. I think the wise decision to do here is to stick behind until that detection point. And they'll get a super long run down that Camel Straight. Can they open up a big enough gap with DRS to get a win? Here we go into the DRS detection point. Skits is getting a really good run up Eau Rouge. And that run will be aided by the long straight and DRS that they... Actually, no, DRS isn't active. So they won't get a run. Will they go for a move anyway? It's one of the last breaking points. They decide to stick behind. And I don't know if there's many more overtaking points in this race. Is Skits going to do anything? Sticking behind now. They can't make that gap any less, but they can as Iron Runner goes wide, and they're going to go side by side into Puon. Skits is ahead now. They've got the inside line. Iron Runner sticks behind them, and Iron Runner is still technically in the lead with the penalties. Are they going to go back at them? Sticks behind. What's going to happen? Is there going to be any last minute drama? Any last minute collisions? Iron Runner is falling back a lot. Could they fall without outside the 1 second? They are outside the 1 second by just about a 10th. And right now, Skitch is on. He's on to win this race at the moment. Well, it seemed really unlikely. But if you told me 10 laps ago that this man here, Skits in the Red Bull, would win it, I wouldn't believe you. He's been really good in Div 1 before, and he wins the Belgium Grand Prix, I think. Yeah, it's first place for Skits. And, really unfortunate for that Haas in front. Just went wide. And seemed, once he was overtaken, just couldn't get back at all. That's an outstanding last lap win for Skits, who just gets through by 7 tenths to win the Belgium Grand Prix. What drama we've had though. So I wonder what that's gonna do for them. And the championship. So they go on the top step of the podium to raise it. And let's see if I can find the standings. Here we go. I'm gonna look at the. I'll look at the Div 1 standings to see what's gonna happen. So from 9th on the grid, ISO Skits, and with 2 stops, has won the race. It's an outstanding victory for them. And I wonder what that means for the drivers' standings. There was 11 DNFs. 2 people finished this race. And in the most unlikely of circumstances, Skits is the winner, which is going to put them first in the drivers' standings. They'll be leading the championship by quite a few points. And that is it. That's the Belgium Grand Prix, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to join in on the racing, make sure to join our Discord. It's in the channel bio. What a Belgian Grand Prix it's been. And make sure to tune to Div 2, which will be 5 PM today. So about just under 6 hours from now. And next week we're gonna have Div 1 at 10 AM, same time, and Div 2 at 5 PM. So yeah, it's been a great couple of races. Very, very, very unpredictable. ISO Skits came in with a very, very good last minute win for Red Bull. It's going to put himself in first place for the Drivers' Championships. Thank you all for tuning in. And that's going to be it. Goodbye.